Epstein, beef jerky, pizza, bigotry, and even faggotry.
There it
Welcome.
is. Leviticus 18:22.
Welcome to In My DMs. I am Derek. That is Matt.
How we doing? Derek, before we even go down that path, let's talk Super Bowl.
Let's talk Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So first off, my prediction almost came true. I had it as 22-10. The score was 19-7 at one time. I'm like, kick 2 field goals. I am a great prognosticator, but I won my bet.
They were trying to make you look bad.
Absolutely.
But get to the part that
the halftime, the part that everybody wants to talk about.
Yeah. Let's do that part.
Let's do it.
So give me your thoughts on it.
So, Bad Bunny. I thought after reviewing what I saw that everything that Bad Bunny did was a nod to Puerto Rican culture and his love of America and the interweavings of Latino culture throughout American culture. And I believe that was the message that was looking to be put forth on the Super Bowl.
All right, I'm going to hold your feet to the fire a little bit.
Please.
Yeah. So, and you can do the same. I'll be happy to discuss anything I
course.
posted because it was definitely inflammatory.
Well, the fucked up part is the antithesis to it is the Turning Point USA halftime, but you don't give a shit about that either. So I don't have that fight with you. My fight with other people online was, if that was the opposite, give me Bad Bunny all day.
That's fine. I find both. TPUSA is still eating the flesh off Charlie's dead body and shooting cash out of their ass. That's the way I view it.
What I said is, if TPS USA was going to have a guest on to do their own halftime show, it should have been the Killers.
Yeah. Or they could have just rolled Charlie's body out there and sat him on stage. I mean, that's how they make their money.
Right. Put up the tent.
Yeah.
Put up a...
Put an ask me question up there.
Right. Posthumously.
Yeah. Charlie posthumously answers your questions.
Yeah. So there's a lot of obvious conversation going on about what the Super Bowl was and the NFL and them kowtowing to whatever. And I've just told people pretty plainly, every year for the past 20 years, the NFL has put up who they think is the artist that's going to draw them the most views outside of their normal audience, regardless of what their existing audience thinks of that performer.
I'm going to disagree a little bit. I think the venue here came into play. You're in San Francisco. You're in San Francisco.
Right. Well, as I've said, there's way too many coincidences ananymore to continue calling them coincidences.
Right.
So,
all right. So we agree.
So Bad Bunny famously wore a dress on previously.
Yeah, previously.
Didn't happen on the halftime show.
No, he was dressed like fucking something from Devo in the 80s.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. With his own name on the back of his number 64 jersey. I don't know what the 64 necessarily stood for, but...
Well, let me ask you this. You posted, people always hate what they don't understand.
Yes.
What is it that we don't understand about that gay shit?
That they didn't know, number one, what was coming. Number two, Spanish. Right? So almost every comment you heard was, this is stupid. I don't like this. There's no English being spoken. If this is my Super Bowl, why isn't it in English?
Well, I agree with that.
Okay.
Here's my philosophy on the language of a country. First of all, to be a country, you have to have a unified language. You have to
have a first language, yes.
Right.
For everyone to communicate, right.
Right.
Yeah.
If you move to China next week next month, whenever, should you start speaking Chinese?
I should.
Well, right. And I don't think the anticipation is I should ask the country to start speaking English for you.
Correct.
I feel like that's kind of where we are here.
But I'm moving to China, learning Chinese. So every TV show that comes on should also be in Chinese because I'm in China. Because that's also what you're saying. If it matters that the Super Bowl halftime show was not in English.
Yes.
No, it doesn't work like that.
Well, there's special channels for it.
Sure.
You can have some special channels. But predominantly, yes, it should be in Chinese.
So then every song that ever gets sung or makes it to the top 40 in China should also be in Chinese.
Okay.
And American music, which actually dominates the Billboard charts and usually has 1 through 40 every year, should never even get airplay in China because it's in English.
Well, that's a reach, and I'll tell you
No,
why.
it's not a reach. It's exactly what we're talking about.
No, it's not. I'm going to tell you
No,
why
it is
it's
exactly.
a reach. When you say every, we're talking about a major sporting event in America.
Yeah.
Every year. It's part of our culture here. I don't want to watch the Super Bowl in any other language or listen to the entertainment of it in any other language. I want to go to the Super Bowl. Let me be quite honest. I didn't even watch the game because I have a problem with the NFL in general. I think it's a washed garbage product that barely allows you to tackle. It has dumbed down the quarterback position. All they talk about now is, well, he uses his legs. That sounds a lot to me like you can't fucking throw. So remember back when we were kids, you ran out of the pocket, you were criticized because you couldn't get the fucking ball downfield. No one wanted a scrambling quarterback. And the reason being, those guys don't win Super Bowls.
Right.
So they brought the Super Bowl to the scrambling quarterback. They put enough of them in there now. They changed enough rules. So now one of them had to win.
Which one?
Well, if you were looking, I would say he's as close to a scrambling quarterback without being just a scrambling quarterback is the kid from Philly.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts.
So the first scrambling quarterback to win a Super Bowl that I recall is John Elway, and followed by Steve Young.
Well, John Elway was a passing quarterback. He scrambled on occasion, but John Elway was a pass-first guy. You know that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So is Jalen Hurts.
Barely.
You're right.
Get into statistical. See, the problem, and we're going to do a whole sports show today.
I'm okay with it.
The problem with looking at baseline statistics where you say, well, he had this many touchdowns and this many yards, and they just take it at bottom dollar.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get into statistical football.
Yes.
Situations on third down, situations in the red zone. Start pulling up stats that actually matter when you're pressured. And
Absolutely.
you'll start to see, because I know there's a lot of people get mad at him, but Jason Whitlock has done a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
And Whitlock will break it down and tell you these new quarterbacks that are run-first quarterbacks suck.
Yeah, so I'm not aware of any run-first quarterbacks. I'm fully aware of quarterbacks that have run in their arsenal and is a weapon, a la Josh Allen, Lamar.
Yeah, a run-first might be unfair, but run too goddamn much.
Potentially run too goddamn much.
Yep.
What's the guy from the Commanders who got hurt because of Jaden Daniels? So there's a lot of guys in the NFL who are known artists at the run game. Right. Jalen Hurts being one of them who you brought up.
Yeah.
But one of the few Super Bowl winning quarterbacks who also are big time runners, right? Because the guys who are labeled as the running quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, never even been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and see, I think if you leave Josh Allen alone, he'll throw the ball. I think with a new offensive coordinator, he'll throw the ball far more. I don't think it's so much the quarterbacks as the schemes, and I think there's pressure.
That's the interesting thing. So the best running quarterback this season, Drake May.
Well, when you say best,
who made it to
he
the Super
had
Bowl.
the most yards, right?
I think he had the most yards per attempt and most yards on critical downs.
How did he do in the Super Bowl?
Not good.
Not good at all.
No, and I don't think the running quarterback is how you win games, except for that the threat of the run. Make sure that there's one or two other guys in the box, which means you can be more efficient downfield. That's how.
Yeah, but you have to have the capacity to be efficient
Absolutely.
downfield. And a lot of these guys I'm seeing are not consistently efficient downfield.
Right. Consistently is the word, right? Because
anyways,
even
we're way off.
So back to the shit we want to fight about.
Let's talk about all the filthy Epstein shit and whatever else. Okay, so halftime. You gave me your thoughts on it. You feel like it's a multicultural. He's repping America.
No, regardless of that. So that's the excuse, right?
Yeah.
The real is NFL found a guy who's American by birth that is the number one streamed artist in the world and asked him to do the halftime show.
Was he born here? Is he?
He's born in Puerto Rico, which is America.
I thought he was Colombian. I'm wrong?
I don't know if he is Colombian, but he was born in Puerto Rico.
I can't say for sure. I just know that.
Because I am African American, but I was not born in Africa.
Yeah. I'm a hodgepodge of shit, and I was born in Boston, so
right.
none of that
I also was born in Boston.
Well, that's why I like you.
Yeah,
I knew there had to be a reason. I was trying to figure it out.
Well, we've had this conversation. Like, why are you a fucking Lakers fan?
Yeah, exactly. Why
and
are you?
It's racist.
Oh, that's right. I remember because they have black players, and Boston had too many white guys.
Absolutely, that's how it went down.
So you must hate Cooper.
Why would I hate him?
Because he's white.
Dude, I love white people. I'm half white. That does not mean
I
that my
noticed you
family
had bigger
didn't
calves.
give me.
Your calves are those are German calves?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't understand the reference, but I'll go with it.
Yeah.
But so the story is Lakers, Celtics, Bird versus Magic, early 80s, mid 80s. I'm in Boston. Family is watching it on TV, and my two aunts that live on the West Coast are rooting for the Lakers, and the rest of the family, 40 of them, rooting for the Celtics.
Good for them.
My aunts on the West Coast were like, look at these players. Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Michael Cooper, Worthy.
They had a squad.
Look at all these great black men that are going to win this game. You should be rooting for them. I'm like, you know what, Auntie? You're upstairs. Now,
you went for that? It was that easy?
1986, when black people weren't achieving the heights in anything that they are today. So not only was it okay to be racist as a black person back then, it was encouraged, and all the white people around you accepted it and also encouraged it.
Oh.
If they like, remember Doug Williams, the first black quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl, and let's bring it back to the running quarterback. That wasn't Doug Williams, but that was such
Doug Williams was a pure passer.
But it was such a big fucking deal for a black quarterback to win a Super Bowl because one had not even played in a Super Bowl up until that point.
Yeah.
That everyone talked about it. It was okay.
I remember the game. Doug Williams.
Who beat? John Elway.
Elway.
The other running quarterback.
The other running quarterback. Went to the Hall of Fame on his legs.
Right.
That's how I know John Elway.
Right.
All right. So I viewed it differently, and I took a more biblical look at it.
Which is a good thing to do. Always.
So minus my whole contempt for the NFL itself and the watered down version and how they're trying to sell it to every country. This was aired in every country for the first time ever.
Right. I didn't know that, but okay.
That was a fact.
Okay.
And I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it an international game. And they're trying to, listen, despite all the bullshit about white people, they represent about 6% of the world population.
White people do?
Yeah.
6%?
You go do your homework. 6% of the world is white. And by the time we're done with all the shit that's going on in here, they'll be like 2% because they're going at all the white people all the time for being white. But with that said, the culture that they're going to put on the stage, if you're going to appeal to, Latin America, South America, many of the Spanish-speaking countries, is probably going to be someone Spanish, right? I mean, that makes sense. It's like soccer. It's a global phenomenon, right? Here, soccer didn't ever take off the same way. It doesn't mean
it's still trying.
It's in it. I played soccer. I love soccer, but it's in its. I'd still say teens, right? It's not infant anymore.
Yeah, the Women's World Cup helped tremendously, but until the men win one or at least end up in a World Cup championship, we're at where we're at.
It's right.
Yeah.
I agree with you. But so I all of the gay shit. You had the rainbow stuff on the field, all the implications that he could be in a dress. It's in San Francisco. To me, the league is already watered down. So I chose not to watch it. I just tuned out.
Yeah, they did set up a lot of people who they were going to be upset about all the things that might happen to not watch it. And a lot of the conversation I was having with people was, he said that he hated America. I'm like, that actually didn't happen.
Yeah,
a bunch of white guys came together and said he hated America.
Yeah.
But
well, my thing first and foremost is the product, the product on the field. I don't care for it anymore.
And I can't say that this Super Bowl was a great example of great product, but it was a great example of amazing defense.
I did go afterwards and look at some highlights if you could find any. Not a great showing.
Now the defenses that came to play in that game, specifically on Seattle's side, was easily as good as the 2001 Ravens when they beat the Giants.
I'm gonna call him bullshit on that because in 2001,
you only scored 0 points.
You were still allowed to tackle. You could tackle people. Nowadays, it's almost flag, and I love flag. I played a lot of flag, but when I think players should have to fucking sign off on some type.
It's a death contract,
right?
If you die,
it's
a
gladiator sport. You know what you're getting into,
right?
You come out here, you should expect CTE. Cam Scattaboo is CTE.
Walking.
He is walking CTE, and he is going to represent the kind of game I want to see played.
By the way, if you want a great parody count to follow on X, Scam Cataboo.
Scam Cataboo?
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. All right. So on the whole thing, the biblical sense, Leviticus 18:22, to lay with another man and pretend it's a woman is an abomination.
All right, so that's a great segue because the Levitican laws are not followed anymore. That's not the part of the Bible.
Should abandon that?
Absolutely.
I'm not doing that.
So, like, the majority of the things that were in Leviticus no longer apply to the world today.
But who made that up?
Jesus.
Jesus said, by the way, the book that they've written on my behalf with all the Gospels, the Leviticus portion of that is no longer applicable.
Jesus said that by me showing up as the Messiah, the Old Testament has been fulfilled. It is great to understand those laws, to know where we came from.
So what you're saying is God is now promoting homosexuality.
I didn't say promoting.
Okay. Yeah, so let's bring that back to the center.
He said all people through Christ can receive the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah, I'm going to adhere to the lay with the man.
But he also said that if you're doing things that aren't righteous, and if you find that to be sin and not righteous, because adultery is, and if you're not married, which you can now be married as a man, and at least in America, that would be sin, and then you probably wouldn't make it to the kingdom of heaven, because you're supposed to, after you discover Christ, then live a righteous life, and then you make it to the kingdom of heaven. But if you sin, you're supposed to repent.
Right.
I don't see a whole lot of repenting except for people saying, oh God, when they're having sex. So I don't know how many of our brethren, gay or straight, are making it to heaven based on what I understand the Bible teaches to be.
Do we agree there's degrees of things wrong? If I stub my toe and I say, oh God, am I in the same class as, say, Jeffrey Dahmer?
No.
Yeah, I would think not, right? No. When looking at Matt, listen, we pulled your records up. You and Jeffrey are kind of on the same ground. There was a terrible toe stubbing accident where you said, oh God, so you and Jeffrey are going into the same hole together.
Yeah, we can't, honestly, unless we do a show dedicated to theology, really go down this and expect to do much more. And I'm honestly just rediscovering Jesus and the Bible and restudying it all from a fresh perspective of a person who understands how to break things down now, where before, when I read it cover to cover, I was 10 years old. Yeah. And it was just stories that I didn't understand half the ye's and thous and shalls. And language was like, I read the Bible and I was good. I know I needed to follow the 10 Commandments. I didn't fuck those up. I was in a good place. Now I'm learning that it's not just those 10 Commandments, it's everything that Jesus or God commanded.
Right.
If you break that, that's a sin. You're supposed to repent. And I am fucked up.
Yeah. Well, you got to start repenting. After the show, immediately I would start have a nice.
I don't even know how to do the Catholic cross, bro. I need to learn some shit.
We got some.
But I'm doing a lot of studying.
Well, I want to go back into Epstein a little bit.
That's a great idea. Save this show.
Just wanted to talk a little football with you.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw, they've gotten into the files a little bit more, and there's a new code. If you're familiar with Pizzagate, pizza is for girls, hot dogs is for boys. Maybe in WikiLeaks,
pasta.
I forget what pasta.
I thought
is.
pasta was also boys.
It might be, but there's hot dogs too. Yeah. And if you recall, in the WikiLeaks file, Obama ordered $65,000 in hot dogs for a party. Make assumptions. Feel free to make assumptions.
I do recall that. That's right.
Yeah. So, and I'm not trying to single him out. What I'm finding in these files is all of these people are awful people.
Yes.
I told you something earlier, and it is the worst thing I've ever heard in my life, hands down. But let's start with this one. It's called beef jerky, and they're finding it in the files as code for the flesh of children that they're eating.
Do we have a video for that?
We do. Quan, if you would.
I'm sorry we're making you play this, Quan.
Crazy, you think they found a code word for human meat? Hope you are feeling better. Did we analyze the jerky? Why didn't we get jerky this week? I also added more to the jerky and ginger lemongrass. Thank you so much. Super cool. Beef jerky, delicious. Jojo is here and we'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. We'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. Why would jerky walk around? Suppose it needs to be in a cold, insulated bag. Just wanted to touch base about jerky. J.E. said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. jerky. He said he has 6 bags of it in a downstairs freezer. Why would you freeze jerky? Steve needs a 6 to 8 ounce portion of jerky. I gave you all the jerky we had, and it lasted only half the amount of time it was meant to. I felt like it was more important for you to have the jerky to eat during my time off. My plan is to make a batch before I leave for LSJ, and some of that will go to Steve, and the rest will go to you at LSJ when I arrive. Little St. James Island. And that's what LSJ must mean. So logically, that means that they were doing this off of the island. Steve Hansen is sending jerky to your attention overnight. I believe it should be enough to get him through. Jeffrey Epstein is asking to bring him more jerky. I'm flying in on Friday. I will bring jerky. Is there a time I could come say hi and drop off the beef jerky? And that's from Jeffrey Epstein. Francis has time to come tomorrow. Show me how to make it. Jerky class anyone. He will bring you to taste his new jerky recipe from the restaurant. He sends a warm hello. He's working at a restaurant called, guys, the restaurant's called Cannibal and Cooks. Who sends beef jerky to a lab for analysis? I was looking for the beef jerky as I knew it was in my suitcase, and I thought that maybe I left it on the beach only to find a small plastic bag near my dog's bed. I'll email Francis to make us some more, as I need 6 to 8 ounces to send to the lab, and I'll forward to Francis the info to send to the lab direct. Oh boy, oh boy. People are saying this is Jeffrey Epstein's last girlfriend, and this is the same name as inside of the files. After years of silence, the truth. Jeffrey was innocent, trapped by powerful people who silenced him. I was his last confidant, and I have the evidence that they're still hiding. I'm not suicidal, just in case. You'll know the whole truth soon. They sacrificed children to Lucifer. It's an entire cult. Jeffrey got involved in their operation for financial reasons and to obtain Comproprot, but never participated in the rich wire transfer request form. A 65-gallon guys, 655-gallon sulfuric acid with fuel and insurance charge. They are dissolving bodies.
Well, that's cheery.
Fuck, man. That's a lot.
It's dark.
What were you saying about New Mexico?
So he had a ranch in New Mexico called Zorro Ranch. And
Jeffrey did,
yeah. He had several places, and one of them was New Mexico, Zorro Ranch. And they had a full industrial incinerator on the ranch.
And it wasn't for green chilies.
Definitely not for green chilies.
Because New Mexico's famous for like one thing. Maybe two things, I guess.
Now 2.
Well, so you got your aliens.
Well, there's 3 then. Let's do 3.
With your aliens, you got your Hatch green chilies.
Yeah.
And now
Zorro Ranch.
Zorro Ranch jerky.
Incinerating
which is
people.
Children.
Yeah.
Either cut and frozen for consumption by Satanists or satanic people.
Yeah, you're in the right vein.
Yeah. Or actually turned into jerky because they had to send it off to a lab to have it tested.
Yeah, I'm guessing we're not testing jerky. I don't know what they're testing for exactly.
Sure.
But that's definitely not jerky.
I mean, but if you're getting your jerky from Epstein's lab, you're going to just assume that what he's telling you is accurate. Why the fuck would you go there in the first place?
Well, I think Epstein was going to test it, and I'm curious.
Okay,
I'm
so
curious
third party sourcing is awful fucking satanic
who's
children.
Who's doing that?
Children's
like
parts.
I got it. We're chopping up kids. We're making edible parts. But who's the individual that runs some lab somewhere that says it's okay to send me chopped up parts that I can look at?
New Mexico is awfully close to old Mexico, where the cartel is famous for chopping up people.
Well, yeah, they do. I've seen some videos.
I'm sure they got a processing plant or two.
Processing. Yeah. Also, too, in the files, Whoopi Goldberg specifically was named as someone that was eating children's brains.
So you're saying
in an FBI file?
Okay, so here's why I draw the line. Right?
Black.
Whoopi's already black. Right? So black don't crack. She must look good because of her ethnicity.
What
you're saying is she's eating children too. She should look like a 22-year-old woman.
Well, I'm assuming some of that fucking evil kind of wears on you and makes you look a little rough.
What's fucked up is she looks a lot like my mom. I mean, like a lot like my mom.
I'm assuming your mom does not eat children's brains.
No, okay. She actually loves her grandchildren. Yeah. So we're in good shape there. But I was the biggest Whoopi Goldberg fan growing up. Jumping Jack Flash was one of my favorite movies of all time. Cannot believe who
she was on the Star Trek New Generation.
That's right.
She was Guinan.
That's right.
Yeah. I liked Whoopi. So she's eating child's brains.
That's
I can't like her anymore.
Right. she's off the list.
Right, she's done. Done. Her and the whole view. Done.
All of them.
Yeah, they're probably all sitting around eating brains. But you wouldn't know it by the way they talk. And eating brains must make you dumber. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well, if you've already given your life to Satan, you don't have to pretend to be smart anymore because everything will be taken care of.
Right. It's just it's a done deal.
Yeah.
Well, that's awful.
We have to find something to fight about, Matt. We're agreeing with each other now too much of the show. Should we go back to halftime?
We had our disagreement at halftime. Want to get into the Bengurian Canal?
Yeah, that's a great idea because we both have some really good thoughts on that one. And I'd love for the fans to hear your take on this whole thing because it completely shifted my
view on Gaza.
Honestly, it was this specific conversation with you that told me I needed to do this podcast with you because it was the information you had around Ben-Gurion and Gaza that said, Derek, you don't know enough about world politics and what's happening. And when you broke this down for me, I was like, okay, you're right. I'm given entirely too much to sports.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and put baseball aside for the year just to watch basketball a little bit. I'm fucking fully entrenched in football. You never take that from me, but I'm going to put world politics and understanding of this and religion as a primary for myself.
So a little background. We've got a video that we'll put up here in a second, but a little background on Bengurian Canal. It was proposed in the 60s. I think you saw that. You read on it. You and I were kind of exchanging some stuff.
Ben-Gurion is?
He was a former prime minister, I thought. And the actual,
original prime minister of Israel, right?
Right. And he was also, the airport is named after him as well. He's a big time individual in Israel's history. So the canal they proposed, America was going to go in with nukes in the 60s and blow out this canal, this proposed canal. And the purpose of it mainly is to circumvent the Suez Canal, which Egypt has control of. Shipping going in through that canal and out into this Red Sea, I think it is.
Yes. So from the Med to the Red,
right,
is the Suez,
and that's controlled by Egypt.
Right.
So
it is within the state of Egypt,
and that's a tentative relationship. People don't understand. America subsidizes Egypt just to play nice with Israel. We actually pay them to be good neighbors to Israel. Because if you remember the war in the 70s, it was a 6-day war. Egypt was part of that. So after that, when they brokered this deal for peace in there, America was involved. And if you look into what we do, we actually subsidize Egypt to play nice with Israel. It's a tentative relationship. It's based on money alone.
Tenuous?
Tenuous, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think it could be tentative too, couldn't it? Yeah.
Tentative is a possible
let's just
relationship.
do this. It's a fucking fake relationship. Okay. It's pay for play.
All right, good.
So with that said, they're trying to take control because much of what is happening in Syria and primarily Syria. So if you recall the fight in Syria to remove Assad, that was really more about China and their Silk Road project, their Belt and Road Initiative. It's proposed pipelines going through there,
right?
And Syria had the proposed pipelines as a location.
Okay.
So prior to Trump going in, there was all that turmoil involved with Syria for years, anyways. But Turkey and Israel combined to take out whoever was in charge. It was Assad, and they moved him to Russia. And now the guy running Syria used to be an Al-Qaeda guy.
Okay.
We've put him in there. So now we are friendly with this guy.
Well, Al-Qaeda used to be our friends before 9/11.
Well,
they probably still are now.
The relative term. So when I need you to be on my side and I'm funding you, you're a rebel. When you are no longer necessary for me and I have to make you an enemy, you become a terrorist. They shift the positions.
Makes perfect sense.
That's all. So this guy's now been to the White House. He's running Syria, and it really undermined China and Russia to some degree on the proposed pipelines. This Bengurian Canal kind of does the same. Shipping and trade won't be dominated by the Suez Canal. Now Israel will be able to have control of the trade going through there as well. And the proposed location runs immediately adjacent to Gaza. And you'll see in the video, it's kind of hard to have a canal if what's neighboring the canal is quote unquote violent, right?
Or built up all around it so that you nuking out the land around it would then hurt the inhabitants of what is considered a holy place for people to inhabit.
Yeah, I actually believe that the I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but from a genealogical standpoint, the actual people in Gaza, the Palestinians, are more in line with biblical version of Jews than the Ashkenazi European Jews that were imported into Israel.
Right.
So
by lineage, the Ashkenazis are not part of Abraham's or Israel's line.
No, not at all. They're not part of that original bloodline at all.
Right.
But the people in Gaza are. So,
which is just an interesting. To go back to theology real quick, none of it, unless you believe in Judaism exclusively, none of it matters, because if you believe in Christianity, it doesn't matter what tribe you came from. We're all children of God through Jesus.
But it does make sense, because the Jews, the actual Jews, are considered to be persecuted for their.
You have to be a victim
right?
too.
So this is clearly a persecution of these people that has continued. The UN itself, for what they're worth, has classified this as an actual genocide. So it's not a debatable thing. I know they talk about it on mainstream and social media.
So the Anasazi Jews are considered being exterminated by Palestine?
No, they're exterminating the people in Gaza, the Palestinians.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's how it's
So
defined.
the
Israel is
genocide
carrying out the genocide.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So that's the background on the Ben-Gurion Canal. What you'll see this video, he kind of touches on a lot of what I just did, and then there's a map we have somewhere as well.
Yeah, so thank you again, because none of this shit was computing for me before you introduced it to me, and now I've done some research.
It's the stuff in the background. They give you the stuff that you can argue about, but behind the scenes, this is pipelines, this is movement of ships and shipping and goods. That's the real fight behind the scenes.
Yeah, what did I read? 30% of the world's goods on water go through Suez,
correct?
Which equates to about 15% of the world's goods completely.
Yeah,
which is a big fucking deal.
Oh, it's a big number, and they're trying to take control of that.
Right.
So let's play that video.
All right.
And then Israel can do what? Israel can go ahead with the Ben-Gurion Canal, which is also a U.S. project. In the in the 1960s, the Americans, they came up with a plan to detonate 520 nuclear bombs in the desert to help Israel excavate this canal, right? So, I mean, this is a classified document. It's real, and the canal goes right next to Gaza. Now, of course, if there is if there's a canal going next to Gaza and people are resisting, which is a natural human response because no one wants to take Israel's shit, then it's not going to work. So the Israelis are wiping Gaza out completely.
Yeah, if you look at pictures of Gaza, it doesn't look like war can be obviously devastating. It looks like a demolition to me.
Right. And lots of non-strategic military assets were leveled.
Yeah. Because real quick, if you look up here, that's the proposed map. You'll see the red line. That's the Bengurian Canal. And if you look over where the Suez Canal is that runs through Egypt, you'll see that's gonna undermine their chokehold on all the goods that come through there.
Right, and it curves like that because there's huge mountains in the way.
It's the landscape. It's a natural landscape. But
I guess there's a 1,300 foot elevation difference between the Mediterranean and the Dead Sea because of where it's positioned.
Yeah.
It's also been billed that a ton of additional irrigation will help fertilize the land and help the promised land have, the fruits that it's supposed to for its people.
But you see where it comes in right next to the Gaza Strip.
Right.
So they want to clean that area out, basically, so that they can.
And they have. They've destroyed about 70% of it through war in the last 2 years, right?
And they're admitting, and I think these numbers are cooked, but they're saying that 70,000 people. Now, Palestine's agreeing on this number. I don't know if they're being coerced into agreeing to that number or what, but that is the agreed number right now. Not that that's not a little, it's not a small number by any stretch, but it's not, I think it's actually into the six figures.
No, it's the number of the people that were at the Super Bowl yesterday.
How many were there?
70,000-ish.
How many of them were straight?
All of them.
About 10.
Until they sat down and then they were crooked. Right. Oh, you're talking about straight or gay. Sorry.
Yes. I have a term I use, and I'll just be nice. And
you do.
I threw it on social media.
I started the show with it.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Well, maybe.
So conversation is our thoughts. collectively, and again, this is something we're agreeing on, so I don't know how great the show's going to be, that the country of Israel is continuing with this conversation of bombing and continuing their defensive war airstrikes because they're trying to do their best to level Gaza so that there is no issue with building this canal.
Yeah, well, and so there's, again, it's multifaceted. The other portion of this that we're all watching too is they want a war with Iran. You got to remember, General Wesley Clark came out years ago after 9/11. He said there's this list of 7 countries, and on the 7 countries, we're going to go attack. And this was all based on a 9/11 attack.
Weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, Paul Wolfowitz came to him and said, hey, we're going to go after these 7 countries. You guys can find that on YouTube, General Wesley Clark, 7 countries. They told him, yeah, we're going to go into Iraq because no one from Iraq hit us, right, on 9/11. So why not take down Iraq? Because we're taking down the enemies of Israel. And America's starting to figure that out, that this shit is the stuff we fund, and these are wars that cost us blood and money. And for what? We're $38 trillion in debt.
So we can build a canal and start paying off some of that debt.
I better get to go to the fucking canal and get some goods out of there because right now all I get is debt. I don't know what the breakdown is per citizen on that debt, but it's pretty healthy.
38 trillion.
Yeah. It's crazy number. So Iran, we're parked on their shores, right? Well, that's the next thing.
Yeah.
Part of Gaza and part of this stand down on October 7th, which got us to Gaza, which gets us to Iran. It's all in order. People say I always, rep Trump. I think this is a huge mistake for Trump to be going into Iran again on behalf of Israel. We've already hit him once with an airstrike. What are we attempting to do now? Now you've got Russia and China both saying we'll back them. I'm not sure that they will. I think that's a little bit.
They just don't want the U.S. to have control of a canal.
Or Iran's oil.
Right. Oh, even more important.
Yeah.
Because Iran is the other large producer of that heavy crude that makes jet fuel.
So if you're connecting some dots, right? Venezuela and Iran, I think.
And Canada.
Well, Canada,
3 heaviest producers of heavy crude.
If we have to fight Canada, we don't have to. We could just hit Canada with someone's purse, and that's going to be just enough. I like Canada, but
do they have a military?
They're not. They are, and they have some. Canada has one of the best sniper teams out there. I mean, they're excellent.
That makes sense. Shooting from afar.
Yeah, right. I didn't say French. Well, they're French Canadians, right?
Sorry, Canada. Yeah. I love our neighbors to the north.
I do too, but they really belong with us.
Right.
Canada is our girlfriend. If I go out with my girlfriend and I get into a fucking fight, Canada, you're gonna hold my purse, or you're gonna hold my phone, purse. My purse. You're gonna put my phone in your purse while I take care of this.
Right.
So I'm not worried about
But also,
Canada.
if someone talks shit about her in public while we're there, we're gonna stand up for her. Right.
Yeah, I gotta defend my little maple leaf.
Right.
So.
God, I was not ready for that.
Venezuela, Iran. I think what Trump is doing, if you connect the dots, he is cutting off much of the energy sector for China. Now, Russia still trades with them heavy, but it's one more effort to take, which I can appreciate. We have to, as much as I don't want to go to war, we can't lose to China. China's already openly declaring they want to become the default currency.
Right, which is grounds for war anyway.
Right. I mean, at that point, people who don't understand how bad it's going to be here. You're going to end up eating each other like these people in these Epstein files. But the fact of the matter is we have to remain the default currency. So if he has to go at China, I understand that, but I would prefer to not go to war with Iran to do it.
Yes, and you've hit me to the fact that it's a play for control of oil. I do, and kind of thinking long game wise, that the U.S. is looking to make sure China can't logistically fund a war.
Yeah.
But potentially U.S. controlling the majority of the assets that allow you to go to war, regardless of what country is, that U.S. can say, all right, no more big wars, because to do that, you got to go through us, and we're not going to give you that oil.
Well, which
is kind of a way to get peace, if you think about it.
We're already, and I'm hoping that's what he's doing as best as he can. We're already kind of there, like we've discussed with Guyana and Venezuela. That's controlling about half of the oil reserves. If we can go in and which I would rather not do, but if we also controlled Iran, you're talking now. I don't know how China actually could conduct warfare on any level, because logistically, I don't know how they're, unless they have a major reserve, which
that no one knows about.
It could be. And if that's the case, they're going to have to dig into it, because Trump is smart. People will tell you different, but he's smart because he's going after the energy. You have to be able to supply and you have to be able to fuel. If you cannot do that, you cannot win. And he understands that. So I think that's a lot of what you're seeing.
But China says they have a bomb that can reach us in 20 minutes undetected.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
I don't either.
I think that we have the most sophisticated military-grade surveillance on the planet. And
Elon's on our side.
Yeah.
So if you put your shit in space, we also have Space Force, which I'm not sure what that even actually is. I've not seen much on it since.
China is launching a tremendous amount of satellites into space. I forget the actual number, but it's more than anyone. So they're fully aware that the future warfare is going to be conducted, what we call 5th gen, and a lot of that will be space-based.
So how does that work? I mean, obviously, our airspace is our airspace, and everything vertical of us within our atmosphere is our airspace. If you're in space, is there a cutoff of airspace as to where you're allowed to have satellites and surveillance?
I'm not aware of that, other than what you said. We control a certain amount of airspace up top. I don't know about space. Like, is it first come, first serve? I really don't know. It might be just like the Old West, where it's a free-for-all, I don't know how you make a claim on any of that.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, because, I mean, to be able to hit us in 20 minutes, clearly you would have to do it through space and just shoot something directly down on top of us. Well, that's how you get there quickly.
That's the importance of Greenland. Part of the importance of Greenland. Greenland is a strategic location for our defense systems, this Golden Dome and this missile defense system that he wants, because both Russia and China would have to come that direction. So it gives us time, a buffer between, that's the time it takes from Greenland to here. So it's important. And, a lot of people are like, well, we don't need to take Greenland. We really already have it. We already have an agreement to be there, and we can build as many bases as we want. So it kind of doesn't matter.
It doesn't. But if we can gain control and keep our adversaries out of Greenland as well, by having control of Greenland, that gives us that opportunity, because there's a ton of natural resources besides positioning within Greenland.
And they have come to some type of agreement. It's not for the whole thing, but there are some agreements that they have come to based on natural resources, rare earth minerals and all that. He did get some of the things out of that he wanted.
And that came from Davos. But I heard you say Davos is done.
It's not done. It's the system behind Davos is somewhat done. He went there basically to tell them that, it's the old Bretton Woods monetary system that was agreed upon after World War II, which is getting into that whole imperial British rule that has been, a problem for years. I mean, this is really deep down the rabbit hole. Now you're talking about the money and the royalty that actually created Israel. And now you're talking about the people that are actually the problem for everything. They're the core of it.
You mean the Rothschilds? The
Rothschilds, the England in itself, the crown. They are the core of all of this.
Even though we consider ourselves allies to the crown today.
We are, but at the same time, you have to go all the way back in the beginning. We broke away. We broke away from them.
We kind of pissed them off a little bit.
It's never actually gone away. They've infiltrated our systems, and again, they run the banking system. All that stuff in the Caribbean, all of those territories in there are run by that British banking system. See, Britain doesn't have an economy. They don't create anything. Britain's economy is banking. So right now, they're running all of the banking industry basically. The Rothschilds.
I've not heard that before, and I'm trying to think of, besides their super famous sports, what they actually are famous for producing.
They don't.
And I cannot think of anything.
Well, I'll tell you why. So this is all part of globalism. They come in, remember how we talk about they take away your manufacturing. That Europe is further down that path than we are.
Right.
Germany is suffering tremendously for that. And Germany was always a hub of technology. And,
German engineering.
Right. German engineering was a thing. It still would be a thing if they'd stop using the bureaucracy to stop them from producing. the Brexit movement was really a big thing for England to break away from that bureaucracy. So they needed that to happen. And even though that it has, they still haven't physically done anything. They're just simply, their currency, their whole GDP is just a banking system. That's all they are.
Which is likely just a Ponzi scheme like everything in America.
Well, the whole thing's a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
It's all printed out of thin air. But Trump is taking their banking away. What he did to Venezuela and that 50 to 75 trillion that floats around in the Caribbean.
That will pay off our debts.
Well let's go. Let's fucking go. But what I'm saying to you is this when you start moving the pieces on the board, you start to see who really is doing it. Just so you know, Israel was created by the Rothschilds, which is from England, but they're a Jewish family. In 1917, under the Balfour Agreement, they created Israel. So, and into my estimation, they created Israel and put Europeans in there as a means of chaos because they know Americans biblically will support Jews, the Holocaust. I've told you, there are two pillars of victimhood in this country you are not allowed to go after: the Holocaust and slavery. And the
American slavery.
American slavery, right. They don't care about any other kind. It's just the one that's
No, I
here.
don't.
Right. Exactly. But those two things can't be challenged. And even though they are, if you start to challenge them, you're immediately either called a racist or an anti-Semite.
Right.
It's just it's a knee-jerk reaction. But all of this whole thing falls under the Rothschilds. There's like 13 families that some of them were Italian, Orsini's. There's a bunch of them. And there are all those legacy families, the original money that was made. And the Rockefellers here are part of that too, in the American side. But that system in and of itself, it's the most dangerous system that's ever been created. And Trump is actually at war with that system. People don't know that. And when you see all the bad pub and press constantly about him, you can bet your money that it's being on some level pushed from those people through these NGOs on the ground here.
There's a lot of, say what you will about Trump. You guys all know, if you're following me on this show, I am not a fan, right? I am enjoying the understanding of what I'm getting from Matt, from all the moves that are being made on the 3D chessboard, 4D chessboard, that is global, political, whatever it is. But outside of that, I do not care for Trump at all, personally.
Yeah, he comes across a certain way. I agree.
However, there are multiple factions of people that are shooting shots at him that, if you follow the money and look behind it, it stems from these big time players like the Rothschilds,
British imperial banking
like Soros,
system that's run everything. So there's a reason why Soros. So why do you think Soros is never arrested? He's committing crimes everywhere he goes. He goes in and I'll tell you how he makes his money. So he goes into a country, he finds a faction, like we'll call it Antifa, but on a larger scale.
Yep.
He backs them with currency, right? He says, I'm going to support you. I'm going to fund your cause, right? He creates chaos inside of the country. And then what he does is, on smaller countries, he's capable to devalue the currency of the country. Then he runs in and buys it up cheap. Then he pulls out away from these people so that their little scheme falls apart, their little color revolution, if you will. So that is no longer worth anything. Then the money that he bought dirt cheap now goes up in value. He plays Monopoly with countries. And that's how he has built his entire fortune that way.
So basically, he's buying them for the bankrupt dollar amount on the back and then reselling them at full value.
He bankrupts them, and then he buys them up, and then he leaves, and then his currency goes up in value. That's how he's made his money. That's
how a lot of money's been made in this country too.
Well, I know, but he's anti-American. So when you see these color revolutions come out, and you see the Open Society Foundation and all these people funding it, it's him behind it. He's behind the chaos, not just him. And in my opinion, the reason he's never arrested is he is an operative of the CIA, MI6, just like Epstein. These people never get arrested for anything because the people that would arrest them are using them.
Right. They become tools. So, by the way, I think I sent you a message. Raymond Reddington was not on Criminal Minds. It was a different show.
Oh, I think you did, yeah.
And I can't remember the name of the fucking show.
But you said it to me, so it's in there. But real quick, I
want to tell our fans.
I want to segue into
Okay.
Quan, if you could put the picture up we have of Epstein in Tel Aviv. So this is, and let me give you a background on this. I ran this photo through AI because they tell you it's AI to discredit it. They put a little logo on his foot. AI came back and said, this is a real photo. This is Jeffrey Epstein less than a week ago, photographed in Tel Aviv with IDF bodyguards.
There it is.
You know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. He killed himself.
Yeah. There's other photos as well.
Yeah, and some of them have been discredited by taking the nose slope and the ear print and saying that neither of them match.
That's not
therefore,
true. I watched a video. A guy took that and overlaid on Photoshop. He took and overlaid. It's an identical match on that one.
Okay. So there's people who are saying that it's an identical match. There's people that are saying it's not a match because of the ear and nose.
Okay. I'm telling you.
Well, look, I'm just telling you what's being said.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. But he is in Tel Aviv. And you, as an American, you have to ask yourself, why is this fucking guy in Israel?
Well, it's obvious based on our show.
Well, it should be obvious.
Right.
I'm saying, but we have to state some of the obvious things
Sure.
for people because they have a hard time, stepping away from the television to understand that they're being lied to.
As they said back in the 80s and 90s to your covert operator, we have to bring him back in.
Yeah.
And so they brought him back in.
Yeah, he's there. That's where he belongs because if you go through the files, he was setting up meetings with Netanyahu. He was setting up full-on discussions. There's a 10-minute video
Every time.
between Ehud Barak, the former defense minister, and Jeffrey Epstein about how to rebadge a 71-year-old former defense minister and make him money. We discussed this too.
Yes.
And
Great video. By the way.
he's what you would call a fixer. He takes care of all kind of things. I like to call him a concierge. He handles whatever you need. And unfortunately, some of that is so disgusting because it has to do with children. But he does all of it.
Right. So the concierge of crime
Yeah.
was the label that Raymond Reddington had on the show The Blacklist.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are fans of The Blacklist, Raymond Reddington, Jeffrey Epstein, same capabilities, not necessarily the same moral compass.
Listen, Hollywood projects. They do it all the time.
Or they take real stories and turn them into ways to make money for themselves via Hollywood.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They
Yeah.
project.
Oh, okay.
They're projecting their version of a real story,
Right.
right? And it does two things. It normalizes it, right? You've been exposed to this. You've seen this. You literally correlated it right away, right?
Immediately.
Yeah. Part of what they do in Hollywood, and we need to do a whole Hollywood show. We need to do movie reviews.
Yeah, that would be a big one.
Yeah, some of the Marxist agenda, some of the homosexual agendas, and why it matters because our children are watching all this stuff. And
Absolutely.
flop after flop after flop. These movies, if you go to look at Box Office Mojo and start to look at any of them make any money, none of them make shit. And you start to go, well, is the movie business about putting out a flop so I can lose money and have a write-off? I don't think so. I think the part of what you see when you go check on these movies is they're being funded through those USAID dollars and through NGOs, and they're basically putting out propaganda. They're just moving the Overton window, and they're allowing people, they know they're not going to capture you or me so much, but there's a younger group of people that they can influence.
They're going to catch the 13 to 18-year-olds
Right.
who are just developing their thought process.
And as parents and as people, your elders, we should be standing out in front of this and making sure these kids know the truth, which is it's part of my motivation.
you have grandchildren.
I have one. Unless, is there something I need to know?
I'm not telling you yet.
I think you just did.
You have grandchildren.
I do. I have a grandchildren. Well, for my grandchildren, I want him to live in a world that's decent, and not just for me personally. I want all of our kids to live somewhere decent.
Absolutely.
And when this fucking slop is put in front of them on TV with all of this imagery in it, and all this bullshit, they're capturing a percentage of them and changing the way they think. And they're changing the way they think on these Marxist campuses. It's been going on for decades. And if you follow Yuri Bezmenov back in I want to say the 80s, he put these videos together and discussed this very playbook on how to infiltrate America from the inside through its educational institutions and through media. And that's exactly what they're doing.
And by media, we mean news and TV and
All
movies
of it.
now.
All of it.
Right? So, as I told you, I'm on this whole religious quest to re-engage with the Bible and understand the inner workings of it, what the meaning was when written, how it's being translated today and what it means today. And it's fascinating to see shows on Prime, Netflix, Hulu that are religious text-based where they're trying to prove up Jesus' existence, which I'm happy they're doing because I want to hear it from that perspective, and then from the non-believer perspective as well, so that you can get both. And there are some that are not outwardly saying it, not overtly saying it, but making inroads for saying why homosexuality is okay and pointing to instances of adultery being okay in the Old Testament, but not the New. And so I've not gotten through reading the actual Bible itself to get an understanding for myself yet. But there's a lot of that happening in a good amount of these shows that I'm watching on a daily basis.
Yeah. To go back a little bit, and part of the problem I have with homosexuality is homosexuals do not reproduce. They're not making new children. So where are they acquiring more recruits?
Well, let's get into the theological side of it, because I don't believe that people choose homosexuality. I think they're born homosexual.
There's both.
I think okay. I agree with that.
I think there's both. I think there's people born into it because of we live in a society where chemicals and food and everything else is changing the genetic makeup, especially in males, especially in black males. They're more susceptible to this stuff.
It's blackmail.
The blood-brain barrier for black males is not as good as other races, and it's not as good as females.
Okay.
So more susceptible to some of these chemicals.
Okay.
This is just a study.
Got it.
So what do? That's where the term grooming comes in. They have to groom your children into this lifestyle to some degree. And I'm agreeing with you. Some people are born. There's some circumstances involving why they're born that way that we can discuss, but they're also grooming children to get into this lifestyle.
I agree with that wholeheartedly as well. But the conversation about where they can't reproduce, where they come from, I'm sure most everyone that I know has grown up with someone who's had a child 3 or 4 years old that was already gay, and you knew it.
I agree.
Just the way they carry themselves,
I agree.
what they're into.
I just don't know that you and I agree why that's happening.
No, definitely. I could say without a shadow of a doubt that whatever you're going to tell me, well, I'm not ready for.
I'm saying a lot of this is the conditions that we are in our food, in our water. There's chemicals like glyphosate. You know, Alex Jones was picked on for saying it makes the friggin' frogs gay. The fact of the matter is they did a study and glyphosate turned male frogs gay. They were having intercourse with other male frogs after being exposed to glyphosate. Glyphosate is in weed killer. Glyphosate, you can test food.
So basically anything that you're spraying on crops to get rid of the weeds is getting into the food supply. And
so this whole thing with, what is it when you can't eat wheat?
Gluten intolerant or gluten.
Yeah, you can't be exposed to gluten. You have to be gluten-free. The fact of the matter is the issue isn't the wheat. If you go to other countries that don't spray with the chemicals that we do, they don't have those issues with gluten. The problem is what we're doing to the wheat.
Yeah.
So we have to look at what those core causes. It's like I see the Susan Komen stickers and fuck cancer and cancer. But what are you doing to understand why we have such a high cancer rate? What have you looked at to understand how vaccines affect cancer rates? You just want to wear the fucking sticker on your car, put it on your car and go to the 3-mile run so you can say, look what I did. I think that's great, but now we have to start asking why.
And you always should be asking why.
Core reasons.
And through my education from you, realize that a good amount of the funds that are raised for certain like things go back to organizations that we otherwise wouldn't tolerate.
Right.
But we don't know it until you dig deep. Not saying that Coleman's one of them, but
No, I'm not. It goes across the board. I
I'm a
don't
big
know.
Coleman supporter. I'm a fundraiser for them.
I'm not specifically pointing them out. I'm saying that when you see people, they show up for these events, they're happy to be at the event, they're happy to run, they think they're contributing. And in their hearts, they believe that. But at the end of the day, what are you really doing? You're not asking why we have a need for this. Why has cancer risen over 300% since the rollout of the COVID vax?
Because we're all fucking fat.
Well, everybody got cancer because they're fat?
Absolutely.
No.
It's glucose.
Well, gluten.
Glucose.
Okay.
The glucose feeds cancer, and that's the reason why.
Well, it lives in an acidic body. There's a bunch of
Yeah.
mitigating circumstances for all of this. But the fact of the matter is, your government has created an environment that is so fucking toxic that it is affecting the sexuality of young children, and it's affecting your life, your
something to do
actual
with
life.
Actually, microwaving plastic containers and the chemicals that leach out of into that.
The
also-
forever chemicals.
Yeah, they cause men to generate breast tissue
Well,
at a higher rate.
it mimics estrogen.
Yeah.
In men.
Yeah. So, fun fact: I also can't reproduce. I am an XXY male. I have an extra X chromosome. Now, my mom.
I was thinking you just had a little Down syndrome, but I was clearly wrong.
Hey, I'm down. But my mom was not eating all those processed foods growing up. So there's God-given
There's still anomalies. Yeah.
that the gay man ends up coming from as well, right?
Yeah, but there's such a higher percentage now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And America's creating it, whether intentionally or unintentionally.
Both.
It's happening. And then also with the prevalence of the left in media today and the amount of acceptance that's being pushed on TV across the board, it certainly...
It goes back to the Yuri Bezmenov thing.
Well, I don't know what the Yuri Bezmenov thing is, but my assessment is if you see it on TV and you're not popular, you can be that to become popular.
You relate.
It's the goth of that we grew up with
The people
in
that
the
cut
80s and
themselves.
90s. Like, I'm ugly, so I'm just going to wear all black and wear black makeup so I can have friends. And I think there's some of that, not saying all of it, because clearly that's not the case, and I don't believe that. But there's some of that that happens because of it. Same reason people end up being white supremacists, and they never really had that ideology. It's like somebody paid attention to them and gave them something to belong to, so they jumped on it and became that.
Yeah. I just want to say real quick, if there is a white supremacy group and you guys are meeting somewhere to discuss the future of Black Americans, can someone please invite me? Because I have not gotten the actual invite yet. I keep hearing all these things.
Wait, this is going on air. All right. So Matt is looking for an invite.
Maybe just to infiltrate.
Okay. Please.
Don't assume.
Clearly.
Don't assume. But the fact of the matter
Clearly
is,
you're going to change your life.
I'm really saying this whole white supremacy thing that they're pushing, I'm not buying into that. I'm just not. There are not
So
large groups of whites.
you don't think the KKK is operating in the United States
Well, do you know who
anymore?
started the KKK?
The Democrats.
Right. And through the 70s and 80s, do you know who propagated all that? The FBI.
Okay.
The same people that did that to the Black Panther Party.
Okay.
They use them as a means to create the division, to create the talking points that they need.
And still doing it today,
Well,
if you ask me.
That might be too.
But I don't think the KKK is completely
They're
gone
going
away.
to do a handoff to NGOs. NGOs are the biggest problem we have in the government right now.
Non-government organizations.
Yeah, totally government organizations called non-governmental organizations.
Okay.
So
For our fans who don't understand Matt's terminology that I'm just getting up to speed on. Quan, how much time we got left? 0 minutes. Parting thoughts?
good show. I like the rhetoric today. If you guys really want to see Derek and I fight, I can just bring some fucking gloves in here and we can lace them up and go at it.
Are we gonna do it with boxing gloves, dude? I want to do like some UFC style shit. I'm gonna get my ass beat, but
Listen.
I've never done it.
Pick your poison.
Because boxing, I feel like I could win.
You feel like you can win in boxing?
I do.
Okay. So then that's what we're doing, because I want you to have that. I want you to have that experience.
Okay. I love it. All right. Well, Matt, I want to thank you again. Quan, thank you for all the support.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone that's been following. The show did great last week, and I just want to say Thank you for everyone that watched it, and I want to give a shout out to Cameron, who's behind all this, and our guy Larry Smith.
Thank you to both of you gentlemen. Thank you for having us on air. Thank you to Matt. I am Derek. Please send us your topics, slide into our DMs, and tell us what we should be talking about next week. And thank you to all of you who have done it last week. With that, we're out. Appreciate you.
Thank you.